Final Fantasy VII was originally released on the PlayStation 1 in 1997. The original game is regarded as a classic and one of the best games of all time. It revolutionized RPGs forever and a landmark in gaming. In fact, the game was that big that it had to be fit on 3 discs. This showed people had spent a lot of time with it and why it became a big part of people's lives. 23 years and a massive fan outcry later, Final Fantasy VII Remake was finally released on the 2nd of March 2020.
Why do we keep doing that?
I mean on the 10th of April 2020. With a remake like this, you know people are going to buy it, but you have one big job.
Don't f it up.
The game had a long time coming with its tech demo in 2005, to it finally getting announced in 2015, to its release in 2020. Coronavirus wasn't going to stop this coming out. But has it been worth the wait? Well, I'll let you know as we go through my thoughts on the game and guide you through all the things you need to know about the game. This game will contain mild spoilers, but not major story spoilers or anything like that, okay? So, let's get to it! If you've played the original, this game takes place in Midgar and in Midgar only, with other parts to come in the future. But to say it was only a small section of the original, they've expanded it into a deeper 48-hour game, turning that one section into a full standalone experience. But to those new to Final Fantasy VII, here's the spoiler-free summary. Cloud, an ex-soldier for an evil corporation, Shinra, joins up with A-Teams and the Snickers man, Mr. T, Barrett, Jesse, who I now adore thanks to the remake, but is now even more desperate to ride Cloud's bike, if you know what I mean. The anxiety-ridden Biggs, who everyone tries to shake back together.
Get a hold of yourself!
Yes, please, let me handle this. Calm down, now get back to your seat. I'll take care of this. Calm down. Calm down. Get up.
And Wedge, the comic relief of the group, who gets into all sorts of Looney Tunes type accidents with hilarious consequences. Cloud joins them to blow up a Shinra reactor. That one mission turns into a journey filled with motorcycle chasing, ass slapping, free falling, cross-dressing, and many more doings in this chaotic game.
Hey, you two should kiss!
But with all this madness, the game still manages to go to dark places, with moments that shock you to your core emotionally, for both newcomers and original game players, that make you feel like,
oh dear, that's not good. I feel the need to say the F word now.
Overall, I loved the new take on the story, as it made me fall back in love with the story again, and shows how timeless the story is, and how much of an effect it still has on people decades later. Also, just to add on this, the music is f***ing incredible. Hearing iconic music with all the love being revamped to the modern day is crazy. The music gives me chills. Let's jump into the characters you will mainly be focusing on throughout this ginormous game. They have changed the characters' voice actors from the original ones that you'd hear in the Kingdom Hearts and in the Dissidia games to brand new voices that all match the characters perfectly. Also, the character development is done amazingly in this game, with the transition of the characters from start to finish. Seeing how the characters change each other is great. Now for the actual characters. Let's start with the guy who started the whole main spike-haired anime guy trend, Cloud. This arrogant but lovable ex-soldier is who you'll be playing as the most in this game, with his roasts being some of the best moments, and seeing him get wound up by others is funny too.
I ain't your bro.
Even with his cocky demeanour, he has the most troubling figure following him around.
Everywhere I go, I see his face.
I told you it was a remake. His combat is straight to the point, with his attacks being close and personal as he swings his sword for damage. He is also good at magic. He uses it as he is an all-rounder in both things. But he is deadly up close with his character power Punisher. This can be used automatically to counter enemies when blocking, when you have finally staggered an opponent attack in this mode to unleash hell. Next is a character that is halfway between becoming Robocop, Barrett. He is a no shit taker, hard man, and means business on the battlefield, but he's a big softie to his daughter. His attacks are mostly based on long-range bullet attacks that chip away at your enemy's health, with other moves that turn him into a human tank and cannon machine. His character power is called Overcharge, a move that allows him to shoot a barrage of bullets that deal stagger and a ton of damage to enemies, especially laser beams and flying enemies. He also has some close-up physical power arm weapons that when found can be used to smash down on enemies. Barret is a machine. He's also the comic relief of the main group, as his one-liners are the best in the game, especially if you decide to climb the 59 stairs.
Another day, another struggle. Climbing stairs, so much trouble.
Now for the person who would be Black Widow if they were the Avengers, Tifa. She is a childhood friend of Cloud and part of Barret's Avalanche team. She is a kind-hearted but feisty fatale, who doesn't pull any punches during combat. Her combat is close-up and personal, being a main source of staggering enemies with her moves, especially her character power Unwielding Uppercut. This can be chained into a combo with the Unbridled Strength ability that builds her combo with a move called Omni Strike, and if you use the ability again, you gain Rise and Fall. This combo attack can be used to increase the stagger percentage and help other party members cause more damage to them. She's one hell of a fighter. Then there is one of the most iconic characters of all time for quite obvious reasons. If you've played the original, Aerith. She has had the best character reinvention in the remake, with her personality shining through more than being just a flower girl. She is shown as caring like a village angel, but is shown as quite a hot-headed at times, even doing things she didn't used to do.
You worry too much. I'm not some princess who needs to be coddled. Shit.
Her attacks are more centered around long-range attacks, focusing on supporting the party with items and healing and magic use. Her character power is Tempest, which she uses to shoot out a crystal that deals damage to the opponent if they get near. Then there's Red 13, who is a more mature and feisty version of Doug from Pixar's Up.
Hi there.
Did it just talk?
However, he is not playable, but in this part of the game he helps out in battle and saves my ass more times than Donald Duck ever did in Kingdom Hearts. Small amount of time I had with him in our team, he became one of my personal faves. Loved his and Barret's blossoming friendship, snarky comments to each other like they were an old married couple.
What a surprise!
It's great to see you again. What about me, babe?
Go hug a landmine.
And the way he pulls down levers is... look at him! I can't wait to play it as this puppy/puppy cat hybrid in God knows how many years' time. Even with the amount of characters, the game shows sides of characters you've never seen before, like everything in the ghost town was haunting, especially seeing that side of her was so sad and depressing to see. Speaking of Aerith, just putting out there before anyone asks about the whole Tifa or Aerith debate, I chose Aerith as she seemed more perfect pick for Cloud, and I find her character so sweet and funny. But also it could be a Tifa cross Aerith. These two get on really well in the game.
And I love that for them! Game right!
Mind you, you have to pick Aerith if she's around a chair. Unlike the original game on the PS1, which was turn-based only, in this game, the gameplay is mainly action-based like you've seen in Final Fantasy XIII and Final Fantasy XV. This is because the gameplay focuses on creating the atmosphere you imagined when playing the original one on the PS1 with modern graphics. This means the battles have been made and played intensively with the action gameplay similar to other Square Enix IPs like Kingdom Hearts and Nier. The main objective of the game is to fight with the attack button. Unlike in Kingdom Hearts 2, when it's X or triangle to win, there's more to meet the eye. You have to guard more and wait for an opening with the opponents and dodge a ton. Also, all of the playable characters are unique from one another, having their own advantages and weaknesses. Like Barret and Aerith can use long range attacks on enemies, but Cloud and Tifa can't reach the enemies, for example. I'd move out of the way of Barret. Also, turn-based options are still available with the command menu that is used to show off the many abilities for battle, like items, materia, magic and abilities. The only problem I have with the gameplay is the camera can be dodgy in certain places and areas in battle. Also, I kind of miss the jump button in battle, as sometimes I want the characters to jump up and attack, but you have to wait for it to automatically do that, which can be really annoying at times. During the gameplay, you'll be using a lot of different abilities to expose an enemy's weakness, and stagger them to do a shit ton of damage. These can be used when the ATB gauge fills up. Some abilities need more than one to activate, but they can turn the tide in battle. You are able to collect new weapons, items and materia for all the characters by opening chests, stealing from enemies, buying from shops or side quests. These weapons can grant the characters new abilities. The moves can either help with support the party members, or moves can give them godlike powers. You can also upgrade weapons with the weapon upgrade menu, where you can use SP points you gain by leveling up characters to use a skill weapon tree in that Star Wars Galaxy looking thingy. Add new traits to selected weapons, whether it's more attack, health or extra materia slots and more. This can be quite time consuming since the weapons all have their own traits and all get the same XP. So you can go through all the skill trees, doing it yourself, and you'll end up like this. Or you can get the game to auto do it for you. The choice is yours. Also, battling in Wall Market Coliseum in character specific missions can give you a second limit break that is more powerful than the first one. Limit breaks can be activated when the gauge builds up by taking damage and is used as a kind of revenge meter. That basically unleashes your anger, really.
I have the power of God and anime on my side! Wait,
During the course of the game, I suggest one major thing. Stock up on items! If you get hit as much as me, you'll need all the potions, phoenix downs as possible. They can be bought from shops, chests and vending machines. They also include music for a jukebox. Also, a bench can restore health and MP for free, by the way. Another way to gain items is by smashing crates and boxes with your weapons. This can be essential if you're running low and there's no shops around. However, the game sometimes doesn't make it very clear what are breakable and what are not. But this is super important to do as you collect rare items from them, which are Moogle coins. These can be used at the Sector 5 slums from Chapter 8 and 14 in the kids' hideout, where you talk to the kids in the Moogle outfit as he offers you rare items, weapons and books that give SP points to help upgrade your characters. There is also a Wall Market Coliseum in Chapter 9 and 14, and the Slimy Hojo's Combat Simulator in Chapter 16 and 17 to gain more items and experience for your characters. Now on to the magical part of the game. Magic. I know, bad pun. This is called materia. These are used to exploit an enemy's weakness and to help turn the tide in battle, if you feel like you need to add a burst of power. There are different types of materia, starting out with the green materia, which is used as magic, like fire, thunder, ice and more. And as for someone who is as good at the game as me, there is also healing materia that comes in handy too. Then there is the support blue materia, which you combine with green magic to grant buffs to attacks to the magic like elemental and magnify materia. These can be used in combination materia slots, with the blue going first and the effect going next. Yellow command materia gives you new abilities to use on enemies like steal and access materia. Purple complete materia is used to give stat boost to characters like more MP for example. These are all placed into characters, weapons or gears materia slots. This means you can only have a certain amount of space available for materia. Materia can level up, and I didn't realise this till later on in the game, but if you highlight the materia and then move the stick to the right, you're able to pick a higher leveled materia. I was using the same plain mild materia all the way through the game until I got to the last quarter of the game.
oh my god! The whole time, the whole time you were... The whole time?
Ugh, they don't tell you that, do they? Well, I just didn't read the tutorial. Also, even though good characters can all use magic, some characters are better than others at using it, so pick wisely.
Wingardium Leviosa. Stop. You're going to take someone's eye out. Besides, you're saying it wrong. It's Leviosa, not Leviosa.
During the course of the game, you encounter a blonde stick insect called Chadley. He asks you to take part in missions for his research. These can include using the access material to scan enemies, stagger enemies with their weakness, and more. Completing these will give you exclusive material that will be useful in battle. It also gives you access to the gods themselves, the summons. These can be used in select boss battles in the game. These are used in bosses that are tougher than typical normal bosses. During the course of a battle, a summon gauge will fill up, and when it eventually fills fully up, you can then unleash them in all their glory. Their moves are probably one of the most visually stunning moments in the game, and a treat to the eyes. Summons can battle alongside you, and can use special abilities that can be chosen in the command menu with the use of the ATB gauge to unleash even more powerful attacks. When their gauge runs out, they will give you a leaving present, an all-out attack that will hopefully annihilate the enemy and give you an advantage. No one can save themselves from the wrath of Ifrit.
I'm going to die!
To get these, you will need to battle to complete battle intel that you can gain access to the VR summon battles, which you will then battle them in. If you defeat them, you gain them as material to use in battle. Summons you can gain from these are Bird and Moogle Dream Team, the Ice Scow, the Fat Bird, a giant f***ing dragon thing, and Leviathan. I must be careful with Leviathan. He uses his water attacks on me, and he'll make it rain on me. That's my one per project. Soz Harry. Overall, Final Fantasy VII Remake is an amazing start to the series of games retelling a generation-defining story, with its modern gameplay being satisfying to play. This game is probably one of the longest games I've ever played, and it feels like it was dragging on in some places, but I still love the game. I absolutely loved it. There were a few bugs and gimmicks that annoyed me a bit, like the camera angles and the lack of movement like jumping in the air freely. Apart from that, it is probably one of my favourite games I've played on the PS4, and is an essential to buy for all PlayStation owners. Now to wait God knows how long till the next part. We know how infamously long Square Enix games take to come out, but whenever it comes out it'll be worth the wait. It took me this long to do the bloody video that Sephiroth got into Smash Bros. Oops.